So, this is a rarity these days because you live in Madrid, don't you?
Yes, yeah. Moved to Madrid for baby reasons.
For baby reasons. Spain is the place to have children.
They're
very helpful, aren't they?
They got good wine and good.
So, Linked Above is a film that we made about Oliver and his rise to where you're currently at in your career, and including your surprising footballing past.
Yep.
But you've just released an album. And I just wanted to, because I'm kind of trying to make an album, and I know a lot of people talk about how much the music industry has changed and why make an album, and I just want to know the kind of genesis of the concept of the idea, really.
Just researching a lot and also hearing other people talk, like for example, Drew Masters also was mentioning that in one of your vlogs, that he regrets not having made an album earlier on or something like that. And I think it just helps, raising the profile as a musician and as a composer a little bit is... I mean, I loved making it, and there's like several stories behind it, but I think I also made it to add it to my CV as a composer.
So it's profiling you as an artist, independent of picture.
Yes, yeah. Because I believe that young directors, or kind of any director, I think these days they go into YouTube or Spotify and they like to see that a composer or a musician has a profile there as well, I believe.
Yes, so it adds a legitimacy. People like to discover. Directors can kind of be a little bit jealous of each other.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm going to use that guy that he used. It's like I've found this thing that I've been listening to on Spotify and I want to use them.
And I mean, ideal situation would be if, someone would be like, hey, I listened to your album, I love it. Can I use this on my film, or can you do something similar on my film, And because then that would be the easiest thing, because that's just kind of my music and my output. But it was one of the most challenging projects I've ever done, because there's no boundaries, no limits. What you're gonna do, where you're gonna stop, when you're gonna call it, okay, that's the track done, and when you're gonna stop fiddling with it.
This is something I'm struggling with
at
the moment. So how did you overcome that?
There's this cycle I think I went through of like creating something new and then being like, I think this is a bit, I don't think that's good, and then going even into like, I don't think I'm good. And then you sleep, and then you let it rest, and you listen to it, and then maybe you go, I think that could be cool, I think that's good. And all of a sudden, you don't realize when something good happens, you can never really remember it, because then it's just the juices are flowing. From then going to like, actually, I think this is good, and I'm just accepting that you have to go through that. I think that was how I overcame it, basically. That it's just normal, because
it's also you going, this is me.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what I hear often when people send me demos for media music, is people really enjoy imitating other people, because it gets you away from you, where you're kind of really exposed here, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's you naked, and I tried to be, not original, but just to do me what I love doing, and it is. I'm really proud of it. I think I achieved kind of what I wanted to do and what I had in mind. And I think I can say that it doesn't, like, no one's ever come so far and said, this sounds like that, or like that, or like that. The downside maybe is that nowadays we kind of live a little bit in a playlist kind of time. That's, I think it's hard to then fit things into a playlist.
Right.
Like maybe a contemplative classical playlist, it wouldn't quite fit, because then all of a sudden the song, because they're all like mini journeys, it goes from a quiet bit, it has like a bit that wouldn't fit, so you wouldn't want to put that on when you go to sleep and listen to contemplative classical music or something like that. But I didn't really...
But you can't make it for the audience.
Exactly. I made it just for myself, and it was a long project, and it was a long process, and I didn't really think too much where is it going to be, what's it going to do. I just literally let out what I felt, and every track on the album has a specific story, and that helped me writing as well. So that actually helped to create these boundaries, So, one of the tracks is like an inspiration from when I went to these tulip fields in Amsterdam, and just having that it's like an inner film, and then like writing something, and so it's kind of actually scoring your own ideas or your own imagination, basically.
That's a lovely way of putting it. Did you kind of structure it? So did you kind of write it first and then go into production, or did you kind of record it as you went, or?
I recorded it as I went. Like one of the tracks, Max, is dedicated to my grandfather, and I just turned the mics on, and literally the take that's on there, even in the middle, that's just kind of an improvisation. But I found it was so raw and honest that I left it in there. And then afterwards, I went around and mocked up the strings, and then it was kind of more of a traditional mocking up, orchestrating it, and then recording it with the strings. but the rest just kind of came. And all the electronic sounds are with the whirly through some pedals, and somehow the whirly behaves differently every day. It's like so old. Sometimes I have more noise, sometimes less, so depending where you are as well. And then I just mocked it up, but then left it in there because the sound was kind of just fitted perfectly. So.
And did you create samples as part of the creative process?
Some of the piano sounds that I sampled, made an instrument, and then used it on the album afterwards.
Which leads us on to this. Now, what I'm investigating and finding really interesting is this concept of composers being kind of entrepreneurial and embracing everything it is that we do. I remember saying to the guitarist Leo Abrahams when he did Enigma, and he said, I don't understand what I'm going to do when I'm doing samples. I said, well, imagine, when you write a song and someone else sings it, you just give them the lyrics and the top line and the chords and you give them that. Well, it's another part of what we do. Some composers make sounds, and therefore that's something that I feel people could monetize and capitalize from. It's very interesting. There's a kind of an ongoing argument about royalties and all of this kind of stuff. And I remember someone saying to me, I don't want to make money out of T-shirts and selling mugs. And it's like, for me, that's like saying, I'm going to set up a cinema, but I don't want to make any money from popcorn.
Yeah.
So was that kind of an interesting idea for you to kind of grapple?
It was very interesting, yeah. I mean, I strongly believe that nowadays it's almost more about the sounds than the actual composition, that you can make a real difference and maybe develop your own voice. Because you can't reinvent the wheel in that sense, in like a technical.
Yeah, I think John Cage kind of took it to its
absolutely,
the kind of nth degree, and right, we've done everything now.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, it was also inspiring. Even so, when I finished the album, I had some sounds, but I was going back into the sessions, and that kind of inspired me to then took the sample library even further. So I made more sounds. I started sampling the whirly and these kind of effects, and then putting them back into new effects, which then created a new sound again. So it was, for me, it was a very inspiring kind of process. And the sample library is almost a new album. I think you could create a whole new album with this sample library without actually sounding like my original album as well, because it's got like so much more content in there.
The thing that I think that people of my generation will struggle with is we used to be incredibly protective over our sounds. It's like giving someone your record bag. Did that cross your mind at all, that someone adopting your aesthetic?
No, not at all. I think I'm like some people already have sent me emails and used it in projects, and it's just it makes me proud. It's amazing. Yeah, it is a bit weird that it's like where you played it, and the circumstances when you recorded it, and then it's in this new context. And
that's the thing I always remind people: you're not playing Oliver's piano; you're playing Oliver playing Oliver's piano.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
I've got it because the soft piano, the Labs thing that we have linked below. It's a freebie, which lots of people have downloaded. It's me playing it, and I on this D, I have a fingernail, and I just hear it all the time on television, and it's just really weird. That's kind of that moment in time is perpetuated.
Yeah.
So you happy with it's been hugely popular, but are you happy with how the library came together?
Oh, I'm very happy. I mean, the team is fantastic, and they really pulled it together. It was a struggle in the end, because I had to go back and kind of re-EQ some things, because in some of the sounds, like I've taken it as I have them on the album, but then in the library it wouldn't work, so I had to go back and do some changes. But anyway, that's just a technical detail. I think I love it. I used it a lot already, actually, on some projects. So
fantastic.
I feel proud, I think, yeah.
Oh, no, that's great. And I think that the way the artwork has come out and has been incorporated into the plugin is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it looks stunning.
And we've got up something I think is deeply personal to you, isn't it? So you've this is a preservation job as well.
Yes, absolutely, yeah, because I got this piano when I moved to London for very cheap on eBay from like a German merchant who was just living in London for 5 years, and then he left and he gave this piano away. He had no idea about piano, so he just put it out for like 100 quid. And I bargained it down to 80.
Nice. Swiss.
And, you've got it. And I got 4 strong Polish men to bring over from Richmond to my flat in Stoke-Newington, and it's gone to La Coruña, and it's gone to Amsterdam, but then from Amsterdam to Madrid, I then left it because I thought I got everything out of it, and then I sampled it and got a new one now in Madrid. But this one is just, I don't know, I found it was just really beautiful.
And do you think that this potentially can be the future for music makers to, you know?
I think so, because because nowadays people are really interested in how are things made. You know, they want to see behind the process, and I think it's very interesting that you can listen to a song or an album, and here we've organized it so you can, you know, by song. So for example, let's say Max, and then the sounds pop up that I've used in the track, and I think that's very interesting. You know, you choose it, and then you listen to the song and you go like, I recognize, that's where he used it on that chorus part or whatever, you know. And I think it could be, I mean, I would love if other artists would do a similar thing, you know, and you can really understand the thinking behind it. And
I think it brings us together as well. I think that one of the real problems that the music industry is having at the moment is this animosity between artists and all of these lawsuits and stuff. And I think that what I'm enjoying about being part of this experimentation from a business model point of view is that is going in the opposite direction of suing people for influencing, you know, having the same influences, you know.
I mean, that's all it is, no? Like when you create music, is you take your influences and it gets mixed up in your brain, heart, whatever, and you have a new output, and that's all it is, really, and that's the beauty of it. No,
they say style is defined by your limitations.
Oh, okay, very poetic.
So there's a link below if you wanted to check out Oliver's album and the sample library, and this will be a series of investigations into this as a new avenue of revenue. It's something that, you know, why not make a bit of money out of the popcorn in the cinema? Thanks as always for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't done already. Ding that bell if you want to be notified the next time I put a video up. And one of those for the efforts of Oliver.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, Christian.
Nice one, mate. Excellent.
Cool.